Hi, hello, and welcome to Life of Script. My name is Yaz. I'm your host, and I have a new episode regarding 27 things that I've learned since being 27. This is things that are a bit silly, bit fun, that make me laugh and make me grateful for being alive and everything else that comes with it. A little recap from me since we last spoke, which is when I headed to Switzerland for my mum's 60th birthday. It was a hit. I got a cameo from Kath and Kim Brett. He was so funny. I will need to play it to you guys. Hang on, let me see if I can get my phone.
Ilona, you're 60. I think that's the right way to say it. Anyway, it's me, Brady. Hope you have the best 60th ever. Get a nice pack of shunts together, crack open the Tia Maria and the Hut and Sweaty Franks, and get a swizzy time on. Why wouldn't you? 60, still a horn bag, which is fantastic. Well done to you. Kim was going to come over for your birthday, but
Okay, that's enough.
Yeah,
He actually put a lot of effort into this cameo, which was really nice of him to do, and he didn't have to do that considering the price I paid was pretty minimal for a cameo. But thank you, Brett. That was really good. I specifically loved when you called my mum a hornbag. Really great stuff. Thank you for that. Switzerland was amazing, and I thought I'd get stopped at Gatwick Airport because I used my Swiss passport instead of my Australian passport, and my e-visa isn't attached to my Swiss passport, so I literally thought I was going to be locked in a room in an office for days at Gatwick, but it turns out no one cares about anything in Gatwick, and I got through with no trouble at all. So if someone wants to explain to me how that works, be my guest. I don't know, but I was fine, but you should have seen me on the plane. And then in the end, I was like, you know what? If they really handcuff me at the airport, say la vie, baby. I will figure it out. Anyway, but I survived that. That's fine. I had my birthday, which was really exciting. I've turned 28. Very wise, very old, very wise, 28 years old. I actually am very excited to be 28. I think 28 is going to be a really great age. I don't know why. I think the number just really speaks to me. And then, of course, it's also just when you age, you get to know yourself better. And in my opinion, I tend to be happier as the years go on. So I wanted to do 27 things I've learned since I've turned 28. Number one, you can't walk off a hangover anymore. On big nights, the main things that will get you in a hangover is the amount of sugar you have, and if you don't eat before you go to sleep, and the water. You need to chug at least a liter of water before you go to bed. I know that sounds insane. Trust me, it's necessary for your survival. I have, in particular, woken up with so many hangovers, especially in London, where the drinking culture is out of control. I find some of the best things to do is to get out of the flat and to walk around and get that fresh air and to do things and fill your day, and then crash around 3 or 4 p.m., have a little nap, and then have some dinner and then go to sleep properly. I think that's like the best way of doing it. Number two, unfollow anyone that makes you feel not good about yourself. I did this a while ago, but I really honed in on it recently when I was following a few influencers that I really like. I really like these influencers, and I think they're great and they do such nice content. But at the end of the day, I just wasn't really getting anything out of it. It didn't make me feel good to look at it. It actually made me feel a bit like, ah, damn, why don't I look like that? Comparison is the thief of joy. I don't take it too personally, but I was like, even just a smidge of feeling that way is just not worth it to me. I'm going on these apps to have a good time, and I don't want to feel worse. Number three, sleep is everything. I say this from the bottom of my heart, and I know Emily will contest this. She'll be mad at me specifically for saying this because I don't sleep enough, and it's true. She sleeps arguably too much. But I'm saying this in terms of like I've listened to some podcasts, I've read some books about sleep, and sleep is genuinely so important for your body that I used to rely on like 4 hours sleep a night when I was at uni. I think uni is a bit of a write off. Like you really can't get a really good routine during uni, but whatever. Now that I'm out of uni and I'm at work, I don't really have an excuse as to why I'm not sleeping 8 hours. I sleep about 6.5 to 7 most nights, but ideally it's 8 hours, and you really do need 8 hours sleep. So definitely get that in, girlfriend. Number four, nothing hits like going to try a new cuisine, a new restaurant, and really letting yourself try something different, something that you don't know what it means. You kind of like the ingredients or some of the ingredients or majority of the ingredients on that menu, and you're a bit hesitant because you know it's money at the end of the day that you're spending. Like you want to make sure it's a good meal. But what if your luck turns and it's the best meal you've ever had? And you just didn't know about it because you were always choosing the meal that you know is going to be good. You know it's going to be comfortable and familiar to you. This is something that I have been doing lately, going to restaurants and making sure that I eat something that maybe I wouldn't have picked otherwise, and seeing how that goes. If I don't like it, at least I know I don't like it and I wouldn't pick it again. It's a good way of like understanding the different cuisines and like making yourself a bit more of a well-rounded person, or knowing what you like and what you don't like, expanding your taste. I think about this with ottolenghi. I love ottolenghi so much. I've been going to the restaurants for ages in London. I love it. I love it. I love it. And ottolenghi is a damn good chef. This man makes the most insane concoctions of ingredients and calls it a meal. And to be honest, it is a meal, but it's not something I would pick out otherwise. And he makes it work. And every time I go there, I'm blown away. And it makes me think of all these different combinations I don't know in the food world that I could try that would be knocking my socks off. So try and do a different restaurant this time. So number four is try a different restaurant, try a different cuisine, try something that the waiter slash waitress recommends. Five, you're not stretching, girlfriend. You need to stretch and do yoga. Yoga is your best friend. I know people are gonna be like, oh, yoga, like I cannot, like it's just too slow for me. Ella, I'm speaking to you specifically. It's too slow for me. It's meant to be slow. It's meant to be weird, and it's meant to put you in these weird, uncomfortable positions and poses that stretch places that you didn't even know could be stretched. That's the point. Your body's meant to be quite limber. If you're stuck in the same position day in, day out, and if you're exercising and you're not stretching, you're not doing your yoga, and you're not meditating, I have news for you, and you're going to feel it in the next few years. So do your yoga. I tend to do hot yoga because I find that one is a real accelerated version, obviously. But if you can't do hot yoga, like yin yoga once a week, twice a week, stunning. That's all you need. Six, I'm not a people pleaser per se, but I have tendencies towards pleasing people or keeping temperature of the room in check. I like to keep things in balance. If I think there's an event on that I've said yes to and it would really put someone out if I didn't go, in most cases I would go to it. Even if I was really, really unable to go and I shouldn't have gone and everything else, I go. And I noticed this year that that was one of my goals, was to kind of pull back on that and to kind of think about what you I needed as a person in that moment in time. Obviously, still taking into account the priority of the factors involved within the circumstance, such as, you know, is it someone's birthday? Is it really important to a specific person? Is there a lot of issues that would come with me not coming. When have I told them I can't come versus when the event is, things like that. I noticed that it made me feel a bit more empowered when I said no to things, and it made me feel better instead of so exhausted. Number 7, grocery shopping is mood dependent. And I personally hate grocery shopping. Grocery shopping is the bane of my existence. I hate it so much. I think it's the loud music, it's the bright lights, it's navigating between people, it's the sounds of the checkout, it's the fact that nothing is where I think it should be in my mind. Especially, there's certain shops that I go to around my area, like Asda, and Asda is just not set up correctly. And then the other week, they swapped 2 aisles around, and I nearly had a conniption. I genuinely was like, "Where is the butter?" I couldn't find it, and I was freaking out, and I'm looking at the bloody signs, and, of course, the signs on the aisles are like, "Oh, ham and peanuts." And you're like, "Right, so could you not give me a bit of an extrapolation on that bad boy? Because I'm looking at this very long aisle and I know for a fact ham is not all the way through this aisle and peanuts are not all through this aisle. You need to give me a bit more to work with." And they don't need to move things around, and I could just get in there and get out there really fast, really quick, really easy, and not be succumbed to those fucking lights and weird atmosphere. It is a mood dependent sport, but I've noticed that if I've eaten before I go grocery shopping, that tends to help my mood a bit. Something to think about if that's something that you deal with also. Number 8 is fake it till you make it in terms of mood and energy. I used to be way less energetic as a person. I don't know where I actually feel like it's taken years and years for me to find this sort of place where I'm constantly energized, even when I have done a zillion social things in a week. I wonder where I pull it from. And I think a lot of it comes from being a positive person. I'm generally very, very positive. I like to think on the positive side of things. I think that's how you find luck. I don't think luck is always something that just comes naturally to people. I think it actually is something where you kind of manifest it through positive actions and through having targeted goals and through pushing and giving back energy. I know that sounds very spiritual. Obviously, if you've listened to any of my podcasts, I am a bit spiritual. The idea of fake it till you make it was that I wasn't mentally very well during high school at all, actually. And I remember reading about being able to change your mind through believing a lie. And of course, when you think, oh, believing a lie, it's something negative. But instead, I changed it so that things would come up that would usually put me in a sour mood. And I instead went, actually, that's fine. I'm going to be positive about that. I'm going to actively release that negative energy that I'm holding about this specific issue. And I'm going to think of what's positive that I can take from it and where it can lead me. And even if I didn't believe it, I had no reason to believe it. I should have been positive in that moment, but I did. And eventually my mind was masterfully manipulated. And now I don't do any manipulation because my brain has strengthened the neural pathways of positive thinking in my mind. So when things do pop up, I tend to actually have a positive outlook. And that's just something that I've trained my mind to do. And now I don't have to, actively push towards that. I just tend to do it of my own accord. It's quite a default setting at this point. Of course, people lie to their minds when they're in a negative headspace, but how about we switch that? How about we switch that and lie to ourselves and say everything's good and dandy and great? Because the science is there that it works, and I feel like it's worked for me. 9. God, when do these end? 9, always wear sunscreen on your face. That's an easy one. Even when it's dark and windy and cold and cloudy, always wear sunscreen. 10, good friends is imperative to making good life decisions. I'm always asking my friends for their thoughts, their advice, their comments, their feedback, their queries, their opinions on things that I do in my life, or things that I'm contemplating, or things that I'm deciding on. And if I didn't have that soundboard, I'm not sure that I would have made the right decisions or good decisions going forward in my life. I think I would have made poor decisions, and I wouldn't have considered other people's perspectives or just different angles of the same situation. Good friends are there for soundboarding your decision making process. That is why it is not that helpful when you are considering massive decisions and you don't consult your friends and you don't get that well-rounded perspective from your friendship group, from your family. You should really use your friends for what they are, which is they care about you, they love you, they want the best for you, they want you to be happy. Put that decision making process on them and see what they come up with. See what they think based on their love for you and their care for you. 11, this is my favorite one. I turned 27 and I started noticing this roll on effect of a lot of people, either people I know, my friends, my close friends, my family, or people I don't really know but I know of, or I know from high school or, uni or whatever, doing things that maybe they were too nervous to do before, or maybe they realized their passion for and have just started. For instance, I have a number of friends who have switched career paths and are doing something more in line with their life path, more in line with what they need at the time, more in line with their passions or what they're interested in. And it might be to do with what they've done at uni or what they've done previously, and then it might not. It might be a complete switch. It might be a diagonal movement. It might be a sidestep. It might be this weird tunnel that they've gone through and they've come out this other side in this like completely different arena that you had no idea existed, because it's very niche. And you can tell that they're doing that because they're so much happier, and you actually can see it in the way that it just seems more in line with what they want to do and what they need to do in their life to be fulfilled and be happy. I've had so many friends start businesses, even my podcast, obviously, I just started at the start of this year. My friends have started a homeware company. One of them's a content creator. The other one has gone on a show and now she has a jewelry making business. One of them has switched from one industry to a completely different industry and has done so because it's made her happier. I have some friends that have gone back to uni to study more because that's what they're passionate about. It feels really exciting, and it makes me think you're never too old to reinvent your career path that you've chosen when you were so young. They made us choose this shit when we were 16, 17. What the fuck did I know at 16 or 17 about what I wanted to do? Originally, I fucking hated law. I hated it. I did legal studies and I absolutely hated it. And then I switched my tune. But before that, I think I wanted to be a history teacher. What? I mean, I kind of, because I had no idea. I felt like at 16, it felt like there was genuinely 7 different jobs in the world, and that's it. I don't even know why. I wanted to be a radio presenter also back then. I wanted to be a vet. I wanted to be a history teacher, all these different things. And even I've had a bit of a reinvention where I've realized that maybe where I'm going or where I thought I was going with uni wouldn't make me happy. And I've realized that. I think that's something that it would be remiss of me to just go through and follow the crowd when I know that there's skills that I have that could definitely be utilized and enhanced in other fields. And it'd be silly to ignore that just because I told people when I finished uni that I'd do law and I'd be a lawyer. Maybe that's not for me. Who knows? 12. Till's friend Jess came over and stayed with us for a few days in London a few months ago. And she said something really interesting to me. And it's been something that I have thought about, which is the idea of intention when creating friendships. I have different friends in different areas that I connect to all the same. And they mean all a lot to me. And the way I've made friends is through intentional connection. And I think sometimes people think that making friends is quite a backseat task. You know, you just catch up with them when you're hanging out with a certain friend or something like that. And there's house parties, and then you just kind of see them on the street, or you rely on social media and you just kind of hope that keeps the connection there. And I think it does to an extent for sure. But I've always been one where I know that people are shy when it comes to human connection. I know people are shy when it comes to new friendships, and I know that as an extrovert, it's not my duty and it's not my responsibility, but I'm happy to put that foot forward and kind of reach out and make a connection and see if they're willing to respond back. With that, I'm not saying it's perfect, but I do create friendships and I do maintain friendships with intention, and I think that's how I've created such, and I'm grateful for such deep friendships with so many different people, and how appreciative I am that they all contribute something to my life. They're all so important to my life, and they all provide me with another element of fun and silliness and love and connection to my life that I wouldn't have otherwise. 13, a good jacket fixes 70% of bad days, and a good hat fixes 90% of bad hair days. Number 14, nothing's perfect. Just do the thing and hope that the outcome is what you want. And if it's not, learn from it. No one's even focusing on you at this point anyway. People are thinking about themselves. They're actually more selfish than you think. 15, if you like to eat out a lot and if you like to buy a lot of takeaway, instead learn to cook your favorite things that you buy all the time from takeaway and make them at home. It saves you a lot of money. You become very acquainted with what you like and what you don't like. And it's a crowd pleaser when you host dinner parties, etc. And you can make something quite cool or different from the usual. 16, have a notes app list of things that you want for your birthday and accumulate them over the year based on times when you find something that you really like, but you can't afford it at the time. Put that in your notes app with a link and a photo. Then when it comes to your birthday, people ask what you want. You can literally refer to that list, because there's nothing worse than when people are like, oh, what do you want for your birthday? And you're like, I actually don't know what I want. When in fact you do know what you want, you just forgot. 17, veggies do really help your body, and so does fruit, and so does eating healthy. You can eat healthy and it not taste like plain chicken, plain rice, and plain broccoli. Seasoning won't kill you, and balance is everything. 18 is think about how a man uses his language when he speaks to you. Does he say catch up? Does he say let's have a drink? Does he say I'd like to see you? Does he say hit me up? Does he say link up? Does he say hang out? And what do you think, if you take a step back, what do you think those things mean? Because they all mean different things. Because for me, when I talk to my friends, I say catch up, hang out, meet up. That's when I talk to my friends. So something to think about. That's a gentle one for you. Little thought on that one, doll. 19. Trends are not your friend, but you can consider them when thinking about your style. Trends are, honestly, I do not like trends. I think there's some things that I've fallen victim to, and I think that's just with everyone. Everyone falls victim to a trend here and there. A lot of the time, I fall victim to a trend, and then it's like I'm in this like rose glasses situation where I'm like, oh, this is a gorgeous top. What do you mean? And then the trend finishes in a season, and then I'm like, why did I wear that? Because that's an ugly, ugly, ugly top. And I think it's something that you grow up and you slowly start to cultivate, like, your sense of style. Like, I don't think I ever really had a sense of style until uh, these past few years. I think before I was really tossing up everything. I loved my black clothes. I was a very Melbourne girl aesthetic. And then I liked this real soccer mom approach. And then I liked 30s entrepreneur style clothes. I couldn't really fit myself into any sort of aesthetic because I didn't know where I was falling into. I really had no idea what my style was. And I don't really have any advice on that one except that you just grow into it and you just figure out what you like and what you don't like. But I think for me, stepping back from trends and trying to understand if I actually like the top that I'm looking at, or I just like it because people have told me to like it and someone that I like has worn it and it's looked good on them. I need to know, will this be something that I could wear in with multiple different pieces of my wardrobe? And will it be something that is good quality to last longer than a season? Am I buying this and it's going to be crippled within 3 washes? Or is it going to last me? And even if it lasts and I don't like it after a while, fine. Is it good quality enough for me to then sell it on and get that money back? Because that's something else that you need to consider is, yes, I'm buying an expensive piece of clothing, or yes, I'm buying something that's good quality, but the reason is that if I don't end up liking it, I can sell it on and I can get money back for that. And then I end up probably spending actually less money on the clothes than if I was to buy something cheap, because then the retention on that is basically nil. Sorry, I've gotten really into that topic at hand. 20, a bit similar to that, but have your staples. I know it's boring to have a staple pieces, but I think Ella can attest to this, which is I'm from Melbourne. Ella, who lived with me before last year, she is a Brizzy girl and she wore nothing but colour, nothing but patterns, nothing but the most loud and beautiful types of clothes. Um, and then I was the opposite. I wore nothing but dark pieces, and my clothes were basically, there was no color in my clothes, actually. I don't think I had much color at all. I think we both influenced each other a bit, but the main thing I had was that there needs to be a balance struck between the staples that you have and then different fun pieces of clothing that can still kind of brighten your wardrobe. And it also gives you a sense of the ability, or like to enhance a skill for you to work different patterns together and different colors together and see what color schemes you can get out of things. So that was something that I learned from Ella. And that's something that I think people should know, is that, there are really good ideas of staple pieces, but there's also, I mean, and I'm saying this, now that I'm saying this, I think that's just me kind of imposing my own style onto people. So you can ignore this one. Maybe ignore this one. 21. Dancing makes you happy, I don't care what anyone else says. Dancing makes you happy, being silly makes you happy, um, being fun, being a bit of a goofball, and letting your inner child free a bit is a very, very important thing to do to retaining your youth. And I think sometimes we strive to act older than we are in a lot of ways to, feel really important and feel really like I'm an adult. And that's really important to do in different settings. Like, I definitely do that in my work setting. I definitely act much more mature than I probably am in my work setting, and I do that in other settings when I need to. But the thing is life isn't that serious, and when you take it so seriously, it does really age you. So, being fun, being silly, not taking things to heart, and not holding grudges is a really good way of keeping your youth, retaining your youth, and it'll make you a happier person, in my opinion. 22, take lots of photos. There's always that um, boomer or millennial who's like, oh, everyone's got their phones out. But I learned something important, I think, with a lot of my friends who are very good with taking photos and recording the moment and bringing it to life, is that yes, our phones are out, but we always look back on these memories and we always laugh about it and we always cry about it and we always use these memories as a way of really reminiscing on the past. And I've learnt that a lot more since being friends with Bridie and Emily, who tend to take quite a lot of photos. It just makes you more appreciative, and it also just reminds you of the good night that you had there, or the good morning, or the trip that you took with your friends. 23, you have a lucky number and you have a favorite number. And I stand by this, like every person in the world has that. For instance, my lucky number is 23 and my favorite number is 14. When you figure your lucky number out, you will notice it pop up a lot more when things are going really well and you're having a really good day, or there's something that's just turned tides and it's going well for you. And your favorite number tends to be somewhat lucky as well, but that's more just showing you that you're on the right path. If you don't know what your lucky number is, just keep an eye out for what numbers appear when you do tend to have a really positive, a really lucky experience, and you will notice a pattern. 24. Emily gave me one of the most beautiful presents I could have for my 28th birthday, and it is a recipe book with all my friends' favorite recipes in there. It's such a great present because now I have this recipe book filled with great recipes. Like, I know they're going to be a banging recipe. They're all different and they all mean something. They're all sentimental to my friend based on, it might be their grandma's recipe, their grandpa's recipe, their auntie's recipe, their childhood recipe. There's so many different ways that it could mean something to them. And so now I have this like beautiful recipe book that I can use throughout my life. And it's just such a lovely way to capture it. It's like a little time capsule. I think everyone should have something like this, like to start cultivating their own recipe book and having things that they always turn to. It's nice to have a physical book. 25. I think thrifting, I think secondhand clothes are the bee's knees. There is an app called Vinted in Europe. Well, I think it's a Danish app. Yes, it is. Hugh and Lucy told me that. It's a Danish app. It's brilliant. It's kind of like Depop for Australians if you don't know what it is. I think it's better than Depop because I think everyone on Depop acts like they own a small business, and all they're selling is their shitty tops from Shein and with jeans. So it's not like that. It's really lovely, and I tend to get, I would say, 50% to 60% of my wardrobe from Vinted nowadays. Everything is so much cheaper. And for instance, I just got my birthday present, which is a Coach bag. But instead of buying it firsthand. I found it for super cheap on Vinted. Like, why not? It gets me the exact same bag. It's been used maybe twice by this lady. It seems silly to pay an extra £150, doesn't it? 26. Oh my God, guys. 2 left. Remove expectations on your nights out. Do not have expectations about how big your night is going to be. It always ends up being disappointing. Do not do that. Instead, just be like, I'm really excited for tonight. I can't wait to hang out with my friends. And then let the night take you where it needs to take you. Because the more you go, I'm going to have a big night tonight, you just have this weird expectation that like weighs on you the whole night. It's so weird. I don't know. And then like when it ends up not being a very good night, like, you know, maybe the vibes are not high at the club or whatever, it's like, it just makes you sad. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Just don't have expectations. Just like go, I want to have a good night with my girlfriends. That's all you want. Don't get like serious about the night. Number 27, my last one. You don't need a 5-year plan. You don't need a 10-year plan. You just need a sense of direction. You just need a sense of direction. And if you're lost and if you're not sure, if you have that sense of direction, that's also a sense of direction because you realize that you're not where you're supposed to be. So at any point, you have that sense. Yasmin, say sense of direction one more time. You don't need plans. You just need an understanding that you're going in the right direction. And if you know yourself and if you listen to what your body and your mind thinks, then you'll have that knowledge innately in you. And I have a bonus one for you actually. The right playlist will fix your mood, and cultivating a playlist based on your mood and the month that you're in and the things that you're dealing with is a good way of getting that memory out there without it being something like photos. Instead, it's the feeling that you have during the month of April, the feeling that you have during the month of July, what you were going through August. It's a time capsule. Okay. I feel like I really went overboard with this one, but I just wanted to kind of hit those points. I'm sorry I've been so MIA. There's no reason for it except that it's been hectic. I'll give you a rundown of some things that I'm dealing with. I'm moving to North London. So I've looked at a flat in North London, a few flats, and have been going through the rental process of that, which is, as I've said before on another podcast episode, horrific. I'm trying to find tenants for my current flat. I'm trying to organize the move-in situation. My work has ramped up. I've been applying for jobs as well. My parents were in London for a week for my birthday, so I was playing tourist guide for them. I've been sick and I've had a few birthdays. I have been organizing my trip to New York City for Christmas. So lots happening, guys. So I really apologize for my delayed podcast episode, but don't you worry, I'm back on track now and you can expect another episode in 2 weeks for sure. Let me know what you like and what you don't like in terms of podcast episodes. I was thinking of doing one on dating, as there's just been so much going on with dating lately. You know, I'm still single and it's cuffing season coming up. So if there's anyone that's listening to this podcast that's hot, tall, and funny, and is not as funny as me but will laugh at my jokes, then hit me up. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode and I really appreciate all the love that you guys give me. And follow me on Instagram, Life Off Script Pod. And it's the same for TikTok. Okay, lots of love. Ciao.